Welcome to EuroFootball Daily for our annual look at 10 players whose values have plummeted this season. This list is in no particular order, and we must give a special shout out to Transfermarkt, whose valuations are guiding the video. Let's go. 10. Wilfred and Ndidi. We start with Wilfred Ndidi, a player whose value has fallen from €60 million to €40 million since June. That's a drop of €20 million, a bigger decline than any player on the Transfermarkt system bar our final entry. So stay tuned to find out who that is. In the case of Ndidi, his peak may have come and gone. Between 2017 and 2021, the Nigerian was a defensive monster in midfield, regularly featuring among the elite in Europe for blocks, interceptions and tackles. But he's missed 17 games in each of the past two campaigns, leaving him in an uphill battle to rediscover his best form. Numbers-wise, this term he's still producing 5 tackles and interceptions per 90 and winning 80% of his challenges against opposition dribblers. But Brendan Rodgers has insinuated he isn't happy with the 26-year-old ball retention or progression, which might explain why Ndidi has not even made the bench on 6 occasions this season. The emergence of Kiernan Dewsbury Hall has further pushed him down the pecking order too. Ndidi's contract at the King Power still runs until 2024. But perhaps after 7 years at the club, it's finally time for a change. That's unless Rodgers leaves before him. 9. Raúl de Tomás. Depending on who you believe, Raúl de Tomás has delivered a masterclass on how not to force through a transfer. Between 2019 and 2022, he was a goal machine for Espanyol, powering them back to La Liga before netting 17 times last term and earning 4 caps for Spain. All actions that helped boost his value to €25 million, just over the club record fee he had cost Espanyol 3 seasons ago. But his success reportedly got to his head, as had rumours linking him with a big summer move. As per the journalist João Félix, RDT infuriated his teammates by missing or turning up late to training and deliberately picking up suspensions. The forward has publicly hit back against these allegations, but was not shy in voicing his disgust towards the club's manager Diego Martinez or sporting director Domingo Cotoira. With the situation toxic, Espanyol accepted an €8 million offer from Rayo Vallecano, his former club, but hardly the giant many expected him to join. What's more, as it happened in September, he was unavailable to play until January. This has all contributed to a 52% fall in his value in just 7 months, earning him a spot on our list. 8. Marco Asensio. There are several players whose value has fallen by €15 million since June. That includes the troubled pair of Jadon Sancho and Romelu Lukaku, plus Arno Danjuma and Yuri Tielemans. However, all their valuations started at much loftier heights than Marco Asensio's, whose €15 million reduction means he's lost 37.5% of his worth in a matter of months. And it's not really hard to see why. Since joining Real Madrid in 2016, the winger has never once hit 2,000 minutes in La Liga. 79 of his 179 appearances in the league have been off the bench, while he's only twice managed to hit double figures for goal involvements. However, he is no longer a lightning-quick player, seeing his dribble slashed to 3 per 90 from a high of 5.1. This is caused in part by the continued repercussions of a cruciate ligament injury suffered in the 2019-20 campaign. While Real Madrid have continued to move forward, Marco Asensio has been left behind. Although he has contributed in bursts off the bench this term, his time with Los Blancos should be up once his contract expires in the summer. 7. Stefan de Vrij. When it comes to maximising value from their centre-halves, Inter Milan have had a stinker. Milan Skriniar will leave San Siro for free this summer, just 12 months after being linked with a €70 million move away. And now, Stefan de Vrij's valuation has hit a new low, dropping from €28 million to €15 million since June. The Dutchman was worth 4 times that amount on Transfermarkt as recently as August 2020, and there was plenty of interest in his signature then too, adding to the trend of Inter Milan failing to cash in while they can. The reason for De Vrij's valuation is simple: his age. He recently turned 31 and missed 11 games last term with various problems. That said, he still has plenty of quality left, winning a colossal 72% of his aerial duels, while he leads the Nerazzurri squad for clearances and ranks second for tackles and interceptions. His contract also expires this summer, making him an interesting prospect for any side hunting for experience on the cheap. But if we were Inter, we would fight to keep him in Milan, as losing Skriniar and De Vrij could be catastrophic if they're serious about staying competitive. 6. Héctor Bellerín. Héctor Bellerín has experienced all the emotions in the past 2 years. After saying farewell to Arsenal in the summer of 2021, he enjoyed a historic season on loan at Real Betis, winning the Copa del Rey for the club of his father. Then, rather than stay in Seville, he signed on at Barcelona, where his career all began. It should have been a dream homecoming for Bellerín, but very quickly it turned into a nightmare. Immediately behind Ronald Araujo and Jules Koundé at right back, the 27-year-old featured just 7 times in the first half of the campaign. The fans were so disappointed, they voted him the worst summer signing in a poll conducted by Mundo Deportivo. And the Blaugrana hierarchy clearly felt the same, accepting a €1 million offer from Sporting CP of Lisbon in January. Bellerín is far from a €1 million defender. Transfermarkt value him at €8 million, but that stood at €20 million in June, meaning his time in Catalonia cost him a colossal 60% of his estimated worth. As a cheap replacement for Tottenham-bound Pedro Porro, Sporting could not have found a better deal. We just hope Bellerín can prove this point on the pitch. 5. Memphis Depay. One of the smartest signings this winter was Atletico Madrid's €3 million capture of Memphis Depay. Yes, his contract at Barcelona was set to expire this summer, but in this era of hyperinflated transfer fees, the fact Los Rojiblancos captured the Netherlands' second highest ever top scorer for the same fee Manchester United paid to loan Wout Weghorst is quite remarkable. And Depay is still only 29 years old. With that in mind, Transfermarkt's devaluation of Depay from €30 million to €20 million seems irrelevant, and the forward is already showing his worth on the pitch. The former Lyon star has scored 3 times for Atletico at a rate of 1 goal every 44 minutes. In fact, he's only taken 4 shots, giving him a conversion rate of 75% in the famous red and white shirt. Of course, that won't be sustained across the rest of the campaign, but it provides another sharp reminder of the talent he possesses. Barcelona's top scorer in La Liga last season with 12, Depay might consider himself a little unlucky to have been so brutally cast aside by Xavi, but a strong stint at Estadio Metropolitano could provide the rich defining chapter his career so deserves. 4. Carlos Soler. PSG bought Carlos Soler this summer as part of their pivot towards smart, intelligent signings with an eye on the future. He joined Fabian Ruiz, Renato Sanchez and Vitinha in the Parisians' new midfield. But while Fabian Ruiz and Vitinha have both been given their chance to impress, often partnering Marco Verratti in the middle, Soler has been less fortunate, only handed 800 minutes in Ligue 1 and just 155 minutes in the Champions League. Renato Sanchez has suffered even worse, but his value has not fallen as much as Soler's while at PSG. The 26-year-old was worth €50 million when he departed Valencia for the French capital. However, Transfermarkt have slashed that to €35 million today, one of the most substantial declines this season. The Spanish international's issue is that he's often looked overwhelmed among his star-studded teammates, with the French outlet Foot Mercato accusing him of a big lack of character and L'Équipe claiming he completely disappears at moments. Still, PSG won't be too concerned. Soler only cost them €21 million, so at the very least they could turn a small profit if they decide to move him on. 3. Lys Mousset. You might consider the inclusion of Lys Mousset a bit random, especially given he only carries a Transfermarkt value of €1.5 million. But the Frenchman deserves a special mention, as having started the campaign worth €6 million, no one on their system has suffered a greater net fall in worth. That's a 75% decline. So what has happened? In July 2020, his value actually stood at €14 million after a vital 6-goal campaign for Sheffield United in the Premier League. The years since, though, have not been kind to Mousset. Continuous injuries have wreaked havoc on his form, meaning since the start of the 2020-21 season, he's only scored 3 more times, and all in the Championship. He endured a fruitless loan in Serie A with Salernitana last season, joined the Bundesliga minnows Bochum in the summer, but was suspended in January due to disciplinary problems. Now he turns out for lowly Nîmes Olympique, a team scrapping for survival in the French second division. At 27 years old, he can still salvage his career, but for Mousset, top-flight football is a thing of the past. 2. Çağlar Söyüncü. Leicester fans, look away, as you have a second entry on our list in Çağlar Söyüncü. But compared to Ndidi, the inclusion of the Turkish centre-half is far less surprising. Once the jewel in the Fox's back line, even in the summer he was still considered a €40 million defender. However, he shed €18 million off his value since June, following a truly disastrous time stuck on the bench at the King Power. Brendan Rodgers has only turned to him twice all season in the league, yet even in cup competition, Söyüncü has featured sparingly against Stockport County and Gillingham, hardly the opposition the 26-year-old expected at this stage of his career. There are things the former Freiburg man is good at. He is aggressive, wins plenty of aerial duels and completes a high number of blocks, but he is often caught out of possession and is prone to an error. In the summer, Rodgers made it clear Söyüncü could not keep on making mistakes, but it's clear to see that even if he does improve, the Northern Irishman simply doesn't trust him at all. 1. João Félix. You might be surprised to discover that the player joining Wilfred and Ndidi with the biggest monetary decline in value this season is João Félix. Yes, the Chelsea loanee started the campaign worth €70 million, but that has since fallen €20 million to €50 million, a drop of 28.6%. But for once, we don't agree with Transfermarkt. In both Spain and England, the Portuguese playmaker has shown more than enough to suggest he is still among the game's brightest talents. Under Diego Simeone's dismissive gaze, he scored 4 and assisted 3 in 650 minutes for Atletico, the second biggest contribution in the side. And in England, he's looked impressive too, scoring once from 7 appearances, although expected goals and assists suggest that returns should be higher given his efforts on the pitch. His progressive carries and pass rate has never been higher, while he looks a constant threat in the final third. Let's just ignore that red card against Fulham. Given all the millions Chelsea have spent, it's ironic that the loanee Félix has quickly become one of their most valuable players. And still just 23 years old, any side should snap Atletico's hand off if €50 million is the going rate to get him out of Madrid. So that was our look at 10 players whose value has plummeted this season. But who do you feel most sorry for and who do you think deserves the fall? Let us know in the comments down below. As always, like the video and subscribe to Eurofootball Daily so you never miss any of our content. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.